This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Keith Eister. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is Thursday. We got 7 games here on the DraftKings main slate. Keith, welcome back, man. All-Star break's over and time to dig in.
Yeah, had a nice little break there. Glad to be back at it, back in the saddle here for some NBA action. Thought we were going to get maybe some cleaner injury reports today with the week off, but not necessarily the case. There's still plenty of value out here.
Yeah, plenty of value. Some big names, obviously not on this slate. You see Joel Embiid, Pascal Siakam right there. We could be getting Trae Young back for Washington soon. I didn't think we'd see that this year, but they said he's about a week out. So that's something to pay attention to. Obviously, Washington missing some players. We know Duran's still suspended. Grayson Allen got downgraded today. They're without Dylan Brooks as well. You got Giddey potentially returning tonight for Chicago. So we'll go through it all. We'll break it down for you guys position by position. We'll get back into it. I want to give a shout to all of you, though, in the chat already. Our guy Greg saying it's been a while. Has been about a week. Rolling in here saying let's smash the slate. Grab Shingun. Casey here back at it. We got Tanesh. If I said that wrong, I apologize. Welcome back. He says, I see through you, always in the chats up, and happy to be here, says Jabri Gordon. Love that you guys are popping in. Grande's still on vacation. He's taking the extended break. He'll be back here on Sunday. Yeah, Keith and I for the next couple of days to break down this slate for you guys, both the preview show and the live show. If you guys saw it all over social media, and I'll throw it back up here, Fantasy Star won a couple of awards over the weekend at the FSGA. We won Best Written Content Site and Best Audio Radio Show for the Fantasy Storm Show over on SiriusXM. So come join the family right now. We got 50% off our first month. YT50 promo code, fantasyalarm.com/YouTube. It's $20. Access to everything on site. So now you can get part of the award-winning written content that we have, which includes our NBA DFS playbook, which is live on site right now. Keith wrote that up for you guys to break down today's action. Let's just jump into it here, Keith. Cade 10-3, Maxey 96 without Embiid, and Harden at 9K as your top 3 price point guards on the slate.
Yeah, all great options, obviously. Cade has amongst the highest ceilings on the slate. He does get a nice bump, small bump in usage with Duren and Stewart off the floor. The rebounding bump actually was a little bit surprising to me when I jumped in. So not the best matchup here against the Knicks, but maybe a sneaky triple-double spot with the big men out. Maybe he can grab those 10 boards. That is that is typically the category that he's short in. So I don't mind Cade. Maxey's going to be just mega chalk with the elite matchup against Atlanta, a team that plays fast and is below average defensively. No Joel Embiid, Paul George suspended. It's just a perfect spot for Tyrese Maxey. The field is getting there as they should be. Yeah, definitely a guy I think will be a big part of your lineups today.
Yeah, he's got like a 34% usage rate. So, I mean, like, it just makes sense to kind of gravitate toward Tyrese Maxey here.
Yep, absolutely. Harden gets Mobley back for the first time that we're going to see their starting 5. Not sure exactly how that's going to look. Harden, I imagine, falls to 3rd in usage for the team. Assist rate should still be really strong, though. Yeah. I think he's still playable, even on this loaded team. I don't love it. I'm a little concerned about the upside, and the spread here is another thing that we have to be aware of.
8.5 is the assist total for him here tonight. You're getting plus money odds on that line too. If you went the over, you can probably find a 7.5 somewhere. It's probably pretty juiced, but that's the one thing for me. And I know we don't like necessarily always talking about spreads or Grande specifically. Not always, there to talk about like blowouts, because whenever we do, it seems like a team hangs in. But it feels like a fully healthy Cleveland team at home off a break against Brooklyn should kind of handle business here. So
yeah, and it's not an 11.5 point spread. We're talking like 16.5.
Yeah,
I will say there could be some chemistry issues or things that they're still working through, though. So like I'm not ruling out Cleveland guys by any means. And I feel really good about some Brooklyn guys on the other side. So it's an interesting spread. I was surprised to see it up that high. 16.5 is a big number.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's again multi-touchdowns there. So 2-score game in that matchup. You got Brunson at 89. You got LaMelo when he's not crashing his car at $8,400. Booker 82, and I'm a Thompson at Booker at 83 and Thompson at $8,200.
Yeah, tough matchup for Brunson. Detroit's even without Duren in there, still really strong defensively on the perimeter. Should get a lot of Asar Thompson defense. Not that into him in this matchup. New York also getting healthier. Should get Anunoby back today. LaMelo's interesting. He gets a big bump with Miles Bridges and Diabate off the floor. Usage rate up almost 36%, which is a huge number. So I'm taking some shots here on LaMelo. Maybe he's not the best driver, but he can still play basketball, I think. 8,400 without Bridges in there, I think is a pretty nice price tag.
Yeah, we got to remember Charlotte's good, right? They're playing good basketball. So, they're at home off a break. I mean, yeah, they're down Bridges, which is definitely a big piece in Diabate for sure, but still have Khan, still have Ball, still have Miller that can score the basketball for them. So, the old days of thinking like, well, Charlotte might get blown out. Probably not. They might hang in here for a little bit against Houston. I still like Houston to win tonight. So I just think Houston should be a better team, but Ball at 84 is not bad. Again, you have Booker at 83. Green still limited. Now maybe no Grayson Allen, no Dylan Brooks. I want to talk about another game that looks like it may be going the way of a blowout. This one right here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but I don't mind some Devin Booker. If they can keep it close, it's probably because of Devin Booker, especially if Grayson Allen gets ruled out. We know that Dylan Brooks takes a ton of shots. Booker has not had quite the usage I've expected, even though Green's been out. Mm-hmm. Maybe he picks up a little bit here with Dylan Brooks out, and if Grayson Allen is out as well, they're definitely going to need some scoring. Green's probably only going to play around 20 minutes unless something massively has changed in his week off, but still should be somewhat limited at least.
Sure. Again, Thompson's 82. Hard to get there when everybody's healthy, like we talked about on the preview show. Giddey, I imagine, is going to have some level of limitation. Yeah. Not really loving 76, but then you have Fox, Nembhard, Quickly, who's playing really well, and I kind of liked him a little bit more for some props today at $7,200 if you're looking in that group. And now I guess Gillespie needs to be more valuable with Grayson Allen potentially out as well.
Yeah, Nembhard is the one that really stands out here for me. He should do everything for Indiana today. Down Pascal Siakam, Zubac's not quite ready. Just a really shorthanded Indiana team in one of the best possible matchups against Washington. Fantastic spot for Nembhard. Fox, you can always play. I'm not too excited about the Phoenix matchup. They've been solid defensively. Even without Dylan Brooks, I think this is a fairly low-scoring game. I like the Quickly shout-out, especially against Chicago, who we talked on the preview show. This defense, with Giddey now returning, it's just further weakening an already weak perimeter defense. Like, it's a really good spot for Quickly, so I like that shout-out a lot.
We wrote up the over 2.5 threes today for his prop, so that's one of the ones we got in the expert bet tracker. If you guys are looking for some NBA bets and you're a member of Fantasy Alarm, go over, check out the best bets article, go over to the NBA betting tab, click on the NBA expert bets tracker. All picks from Mark Lamier in there for tonight as well. And again, Gillespie, just by product of bodies, is going to probably end up being a bit more valuable tonight at 66. I don't know if you like the price on him or not. You have McCollum and Daniels to round up the 6K tier.
Yeah, Gillespie's fine. I'm not too excited about it. If Grayson Allen gets ruled out, I do think it's a bump for him. I don't love the game environment. Two slower paced teams, two very good defensive teams. So not a game environment that I'm totally invested in. I don't love either of the other guys here in the 6K range either. I think we can look a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, when we're looking at just from an ownership perspective tonight at the point guard position, again, Maxey, as you mentioned, is up there. Cade, LaMelo, Nembhard, all guys that we talked about from a value tier with point guard eligibility. It is Quentin Grimes, and Anthony just asked about the value Sixers. Grimes is at $4,200 right here, and Agar Demian is $4,900. The other guy that's getting a little bit of ownership in this under 5K range.
Yeah, I have interest in both of them. Grimes in particular, we talked about this Atlanta matchup, and no Embiid, no Paul George, so fantastic spot for Sixers. Grimes actually receives the second largest usage bump on the team without Embiid and George. I was a little bit surprised by that, but Oubre, of course, missed some time. He's back now. We'll see if that holds, but 4,200. He's been playing upper 20s minutes off the bench since Paul George's suspension, so should see that same role here. It's a great matchup. I'm on board with the Grimes stuff. I'm interested in Brooklyn as well. Dioman is fine. I think that I prefer Traore, actually.
Okay.
He's handling
Quite
the
a
ball
lot
a
of
little bit.
ownership on Traore, so you get some leverage there.
Exactly. Yep. And just the role that I've seen here over the past, it's really since they waived Cam Thomas. Traore's been starting alongside of Dioman, and he's been playing incredibly well. So if the field's going to play Dioman, I'll play Traore. I'm
Sure.
totally fine with that.
Yeah, you're getting 5% on Traore, and Yegor is 15%. So getting some nice leverage there on the field. If we go to shooting guard, again, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony asked if we should be jamming in Mitchell or Harden today. Mitchell's 95. You have Durant, Booker's there, and Ingram at 82.
I prefer other spend ups. It's
Yeah.
not that I think Donovan Mitchell is not playable or anything. Not that he couldn't go for 50 fantasy points in this spot. He absolutely could. But we discussed the spread a little bit. Obviously, the situation with Mobley coming back now and Harden there, we're not exactly sure what this looks like. I'm pretty confident Donnie Mitchell's still going to lead the team in usage by a pretty significant margin. So like I said, still very playable, but a couple of things working against him where I prefer other spend ups today.
Okay. Again, KD, Ingram, thoughts there?
Yeah, both fine. Can both find a ceiling in any spot. I like this matchup for Toronto. They're mostly healthy now. Barrett should be back to full strength. It's hard to pick and choose. I think I prefer saving some money down to Barrett when we get there, or going up to Scotty. Ingram's just I'm not quite getting there, and same with KD. Like fully healthy Houston team. Hard to find the ceiling here for Houston.
Yep, I agree with you. NAW $7,400. Castle, Kneppel, Keyshawn George at $7,000 there, in that range. Ownership wise, VJ Edgecombe is up over 30%. Kelly Oubre is getting lover up over 20%. So people keying in on the 76ers here today. Anything else that you like sort of in this mid range outside of Philadelphia?
Yeah, Josh Hart, actually. Just a guy that can do everything. The price is below 7K now. Obviously not the best matchup against Detroit, but they are missing a couple of very good defenders in Duren and Stewart. And Hart is just a guy that it doesn't have to be the best game environment for him to put up a double-double or even a triple-double. So even with Anunoby back, I think 6,800 is just a little bit too cheap for Josh Hart.
And you're definitely obviously in an Edgecombe here, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Edgecombe gets the largest usage bump with Embiid and George off the floor. Totally fine with Oubre as well. We haven't seen as much from him, but he's been a guy that's played big time minutes on this team. So certainly don't have an issue there.
With everybody seemingly going Edgecombe and Oubre, Tyree Easton's getting lost in the shuffle, just 4%. Obviously, he's had some pop games. He's had some not so great games. Any interest here against Charlotte?
Yeah, a guy that we liked quite a bit on the preview show, and that has not changed for me. It's a great matchup here against Charlotte. I know they've been better defensively, but they're down 2 starters here. You think that has to impact their defense a little bit. And the role for Eason has been incredible. He's been over 30 minutes with regularity here recently. So I'm totally in on that.
You can also see Goodwin get some bumps here, especially if Grayson Allen ends up being ruled out at 57, though we didn't really love the price tag
Still a tough price
for him, but that obviously has to change consideration now. Anything else in this 5K range for you?
The Washington stuff is interesting. I think Trey Johnson is great. The problem is we don't know what the rotation is going to look like. They have done this weird thing where they're rotating playing guys like 36 minutes and playing guys 24 minutes. So the range of outcomes is like massive for Trey Johnson and how many minutes he plays. If I knew he was getting 30 minutes, he'd be a great play at 5,700.
Yeah.
Tournaments only because you could end up with 24 minutes in this spot. But I'm interested in Washington. I'm not totally sold on which way to play it.
Sure.
Keyshawn George up at the top, we kind of just glossed over because you just don't know how many minutes you're getting out of these guys. I don't know.
And no one's really playing any of them, so you're getting almost no ownership on any of the Wizards here tonight.
Right, and we're talking about an Indiana team that like they're already horrible defensively, and now they're shorthanded. Like no Siakam, no Zubac. Like it's a great spot for Washington. It just we don't know who's going to play for him is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. From a value perspective, again, you can play Grimes here again. Neesmith actually getting a little bit of love at $5,900 or $5,600 rather. Again, no Siakam. So someone's got to score the basketball for them. Obviously, they don't have Matherin anymore. So Neesmith is actually getting a little bit of ownership here. But that's really like it for value plays. Is there a guy under 5K that you have interest in tonight that we haven't talked about?
5K. Talked about
like Dylan Harper is like 5%.
That's the one name I would throw out. I don't have any interest in anything else that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We go on over to the small forward position up at the top. Again, KD is here, Michael Porter Jr., Brandon Miller in your 8K range. Durant has the highest ownership of that group. He and Miller coming around 15 and 12%. Your chalk plays Dries Walker as we expected. RJ Barrett also coming in with some decent ownership tonight.
Yeah, I think the mid-range guys are really strong, but I do think there's some value in spending up a little bit here. We've seen MPJ just have a massive ceiling. I know it's not a great spot against Cleveland, especially with Mobley back, but if he gets hot from three, that doesn't really matter. So I like MPJ and his ceiling potential in this spot. And then Brandon Miller is a guy that I want to be over the field on for sure. I know the matchup is rough against Houston, but we talked about bumps with Bridges and Diabate off. He's up there around 34% usage, which is a massive number for an 8K player. He's been playing big minutes as well. So I like Brandon Miller quite a lot.
Yep, agreed with you on that one. Again, as is mentioned, the ownership plays Dries at 59. We kind of identified that one right away last night. But we also did like RJ Barrett, and he's coming up at over 25% here.
Yeah, he was seeing 30 minutes before the break. Now he's had another week to heal up and kind of get past that injury. And the matchup against Chicago is absolutely elite. Chicago's a top 5 pace team. They're 25th in defensive rating. It's a fantastic spot for Toronto. I think Barrett has a chance to play 32, 34 minutes in this spot.
Yep. And again, not just to gloss over it, very popular play today going up against Washington for Dries Walker. Opposite of him, though, Champagne's got over 10% tonight. You were talking about, liking some of these Wizards. As of now, he's got the ownership on his side from the rest of the team.
Yeah, he's a little bit more expensive than the guy I'm targeting from Washington as my main exposure. But I certainly don't mind this. I think he's I think there are a couple guys that are candidates to play 35 minutes, and I don't think he's one of them. So I'll have a couple of sprinkles on Champagne, but not one of my favorite Wizards.
Where do we go next for you?
Let's see here. Catching back up. Do we want? Yeah, I think just down to Koulibaly is the other obvious Wizards guy who I think has a chance to play big minutes. He only played 24 last game, but he was up over 33 in each of the 2 before that. So it just kind of depends on what they want to do with their rotation. We talked about this is my favorite game environment of the night. Yep. Neither of these teams play defense. They both play fast. So I'm going to take some shots on Washington. It doesn't feel great, but Koulibaly, I think, has the best chance to play 30-plus minutes tonight.
Yeah, these players are all – so Champagne's around 12%. You have Kobe Brown at 10% as well. He's $4,000 here. Again, a guy they got in that trade with Zubac, 28 minutes in that last game for him. Maybe there's a chance. With No Siakam, he gets extended minutes.
I think there's a chance he starts, actually. Yeah. So I'm glad you pointed out Kobe Brown. Yeah. Quentin Jackson is still on the injury report as questionable in the G League. If they have not activated him yet, he's probably not getting activated for this game. I'm seeing some places project Quentin Jackson to start. That's obviously not happening if he's in the G League. I think the candidates to start then would be Ben Shepherd or Kobe Brown. We've seen Furphy and Walker start together in this setup, and I think Kobe Brown could slide right into that. If that's the case, he's really cheap and decent per minute. Not the best, but at that price tag, if he's starting, I'm interested.
Yeah. And again, it's the fact that he's just $4,000 kind of playing up there. You also have Will Riley sort of in the same ownership range at $4,400. Zachariah Richeche is 7%, even though Atlanta's healthier. So I don't I'm not sure I like that ownership necessarily, but he's $3,800. Jameer Watkins is 5%. So just some more cheap plays here in that Washington Indiana game.
Yeah, I'd rather take shots on the Washington, Indiana guys than go to somebody like Richeche. I think we know what his role is going to be. He's going to be low 20s. Give me the upside for one of the Washington guys instead of him.
I agree. If we got over to power forward, we have Jalen Johnson at $10,400. He's coming in just under 20%. Again, a lot of value on this slate is getting some love. So no one's really in on Şengün, less than 10% playing Scotty Barnes here tonight. No one's in on Evan Mobley. Do you find yourself looking to spend up here?
I do. I absolutely love Jalen Johnson in this spot. Philly is a below average defense. We know he has massive upside. If most of the field is spending up for Maxey, I think you can get some leverage here with Johnson. He's looking to be not quite as popular as Maxey, which I think is intriguing because I think he has the highest ceiling on the slate outside of maybe Wemby. It's a fantastic spot. I'm all the way in on Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, but half the ownership for Johnson than Maxey right now.
Exactly. Yep. So I'm not saying I'm not playing Maxey, but rather than try to get overweight on a very popular Maxey, I would rather pivot and take some shots on Jalen Johnson and a guy at the next position that we will get to as my spend up.
Sure.
I think Şengün and Scotty are both fantastic as well. Obviously, I prefer Johnson, and I'll have more exposure there, but certainly take a sprinkle on either of those guys. They have massive ceilings. Scotty in particular with the matchup that we talked about against Chicago.
Yeah, almost feels like we might have like a peak rebounding game out of Scotty Barnes in this spot here. Just Chicago's lack of interior presence. Even if Jalen Smith is back, that guy, doesn't always play a ton of minutes. Sometimes he gets into foul trouble. He's a decent rebounder and per minute guy, but I think Scotty Barnes could have himself a pretty big day here today. Going down into the mid-range, you have Jabari, Buzelis, OG is back. Jarice, as we talked about, small forward, he's carrying the ownership at this position, but so is another guy on that team, and that's Jay Huff at $5,200, currently over 30%. I know you were waiting to see whether or not he or Micah Potter end up starting and deciding in that direction. Potter is also getting some ownership, but at a significantly reduced price tag.
Yeah, obviously the starting lineup matters there. I think they're both playable. Looking into it, they actually, with Siakam off the floor, they've actually shared the floor together quite a bit. Potter and Huff have. So they're both playable. I think they both see 25 to 28 minutes in this spot. Huff is a little bit better per minute. I think Potter's discount is notable. It's a slight lean to Potter for me just because of the savings, but we're splitting hairs here. I think either one of them is fine. The ownership is well-deserved. Up higher, Jabari Smith is somebody who kind of wasn't on my radar, but just looking through what he's been doing here recently has been playing really well. Part of the reason I think that Durant and Şengün haven't been finding the ceiling as much is Jabari Smith is playing really well. I don't hate that in this matchup against Charlotte.
Yeah, some big minutes for him there. Obviously, the double-double numbers are nice to see. So I wonder what his – let's see what the Jabari Smith rebound prop is here tonight, folks. Let's see. Houston, Charlotte, rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, you take Charlotte's elite rebounder in Diabate off the floor, and it suddenly becomes a pretty good rebounding spot.
Line sitting at 6.5.
Yeah, that feels pretty light.
Gone over in 8 of the last 10 games. I'll say this. This is always one thing that I look at. He has been wildly efficient at his rebound chances. He had 12 rebounds and 13 opportunities last game, 10 and 12 opportunities the game before that. He did have 10 and 20 rebound opportunities before that, and then 7 and 10 opportunities against Charlotte that last time they met. So pretty much averaging during this 10 game, 11.3 of rebound chances and pulling down 7.8 rebounds over the last 10. So very efficient rebounder. But you're getting plus money at the 6.5. So if you think he goes out there and just keeps swallowing all of the rebounds, I mean, I don't hate it from a prop perspective tonight. And obviously that will translate into DFS if he's putting up double doubles. So not a bad shout. Sometimes those things do even themselves out, but you ride the wave, man. Sometimes these guys are just very efficient rebounders. So I don't hate that actually. We talked to Detroit. I mean, obviously not a good matchup in terms of pace and the Knicks play slow and whatnot, but like Tobias Harris, no Stewart, no Duren. There's, lack of depth potentially playing minutes. He double-doubled last time himself out as well. So he's 5,500. Again, Huff is the chalk there. Would like Royce O'Neal be any more interesting to you with everybody out of that lineup?
Somewhat. He's very much in the Tobias Harris mold in that He's a good floor player, but not necessarily a guy that's going to give you a huge ceiling.
Yeah, only shooting threes. So
Yeah.
if he gets hot from three, I guess there's that. Ron Hollins, 4,200. What's the ownership got at this position? I mentioned there's a lot of value. Barlow is up over 20%. Potter, Grant Williams is 20%. So I guess that's where the value is coming from here today.
Yeah, those cheap guys that are going to play big minutes that aren't necessarily great per minute producers, I think I wouldn't mind finding pivots for, especially Grant Williams. Like he could play 35 minutes and only put up 20 fantasy points. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
I also understand why the ownership is there. He's going to be out there a ton. He played, I believe, 32 minutes.
Yeah, 32 last time
in his last one. Barlow, same thing, played 30 minutes last game. That's super volatile. We've seen Philly shake up their rotation and Barlow start and play 24 minutes plenty of times. So I don't love that those guys are getting ownership. I certainly do understand why they are. The Philly center position is obviously something that we're going to talk about. They didn't play Drummond and Bona for the full 48. They mixed in some Watford, so I don't mind taking a shot there.
Let's see, like, where's Watford at? There he is, 42.
42, yeah. I wish he was 38, to be honest, but
Yeah.
I think he has a good chance to play mid-20s minutes in this spot. If the bonus starts again, I feel pretty good about Watford and taking a shot there.
Sure. We'll go on over to the center position here then. Wemby is up at the top in terms of pricing, but this is another position where value dominates the spot. But Wemby at 10.5, always very live here if you wanted to make the spend-up play.
Yeah, we've got, I mean, anytime this guy is under 10%, you just have to take notice and take an overweight stance, in my opinion, in tournaments. Yep. It's a perfect storm. He's got a tough matchup. Phoenix has played great defense all season long. And then you've got these awesome value plays in the mid-range and 4K range. So I completely understand why the field isn't getting there. But this is a guy that matchup doesn't matter for. He can absolutely go for 70 fantasy points in any spot. He's shown that he can play over 30 minutes multiple times here since he's returned from injury, has had the week off now with the All-Star break. So, yeah, I mean, love the ownership number here.
Yeah, no, for sure. We talk about this a lot when Jokic is on a slate. We're like, no one's playing the best player in the world. Like, that seems a little odd. You have a guy with 10 block upside on this slate, and could definitely take it down at 10.5. The next group, we talked about Şengün. He's fine. I don't really have any interest in Mobley or Towns. Jared Allen was playing out of his mind, but with Mobley back, you have to wonder. One of the things we liked about Allen was the minutes, but they do play Mobley at the 5 when Allen shifts out. So you wonder if the minutes get cut into now for him with Mobley back. You have Kongwu at 7K, but they obviously have Landale, so they do have like a real backup to him now, which they didn't really have before. So not sure your thoughts there. Paul Reed's where all the chalk is today. He's 57, but what are your thoughts as sort of the rest of this mid-range?
Yeah, up in like the 7-8K range, I'm not all that interested. Mobley in his first game back, I assume he's somewhat limited. And then Allen is impacted by Mobley's return. So not touching that situation. I'm not on Towns either. I know it's a better matchup than it appears with Durant and Stewart out.
Yeah.
Towns just hasn't been all that great this season. So not going there. Okongwu is the first guy I would get to. Definitely some risk with Landale there. Not going to play the 35 minutes that he's typically seen in this situation. But I think he's still live to get 30 minutes. So certainly don't mind that. And he has a massive ceiling. Obviously no Embiid there. Philly missing a key defensive piece. So certainly can get there. It is Day'Ron Sharpe and Paul Reed in the mid-range who are the absolute smashes. The prices are up a little bit, but not near enough for the roles that these guys have played. I've juggled back and forth on which guy I wanted to. I knew one of these guys was going to be a core play, highlighted in the playbook section for me. Juggled back and forth on which one I wanted to choose. It's razor thin. So if you have a preference for one over the other, I don't think that you have to definitively say this guy is better. For me, it's Paul Reed slightly ahead, and that's even factoring in slightly more ownership. It's just a better matchup. It's a better game environment. Not the pace isn't great, but just the risk of a 16.5 point spread and Day'Ron Sharpe not being a lock for 30 minutes in that situation has me leaning slightly to Paul Reed. I feel pretty good about him getting 30 minutes in this spot.
Yeah, Reed was where I would lean as well. Again, almost any other matchup, we'd be all in on Daron Sharp here, I think. But
Right.
for me, just Cleveland, 16.5 point spread on the road, Allen and Mobley. Sharp has been a guy that gets into foul trouble. So, as active as he is, it comes at a cost occasionally as well. You're going to have guys like Mitchell and Harden potentially driving. Like, there's a lot of things I don't love necessarily about the matchup for Sharp. Not saying he can't get there still, because he is just a freak when it comes to fantasy points. But I lean definitely more into what you're thinking with Reed there. And then that goes down to $4,300, where Tristan Vukcevic is the highest rostered center tonight, up over 40%. We've been attacking the Pacers all season long in their interior. They still don't have Zubac there. So, Vukcevic is the guy tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He probably won't play the 30 minutes that Reed and Sharp could play, but I think mid-20s is very much in the range, and his matchup is just so far and away that much better. He's also over $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
Still a massive over 1.2 fantasy points per minute. So just an awesome spot for him. I have no issues. I'd play him in probably, if I was playing 20 lineups, 60 to 80% of my lineups. I think he's that strong of a play today.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And obviously, we'll get the 7 o'clock starting lineups here for this Washington Indiana game. So, like, if Potter is the starting center at $3,900, you probably end up seeing some of that ownership come off of Vucevic and into Potter here. But they'll both be highly rostered, because it seems like, and we talked about this on the preview show, like double center is kind of the way people are leaning with the position eligibility here today. So, any other centers you want to discuss?
Potter has that power forward eligibility too, which is nice. So I think he's getting catch ownership either way, even if he's not starting, and I don't have any issue with it. The Philly center situation we need to discuss, because if Bonus starts again, he's really cheap. He only played 22 minutes in his last start. I don't love that. He's not anywhere near as good of a fantasy producer as Andre Drummond. So he's okay if Bonus starts. If Drummond starts, then I think you can put him in the conversation with Vukcevic as one of the top values on the entire slate. I don't love that they have seemingly tried to move away from Drummond 30-minute games that we were seeing.
Yeah.
So there is some risk even if Drummond starts, but I would far prefer Drummond as a play to Bona if he was the starter.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather go in that direction there as well, just because we've seen huge games out of him there. Would you touch any of the Chicago stuff? I mean, again, Jalen Smith, is he officially in for tonight?
Upgraded to probable, I believe. Yeah.
So you got him at 59, and then obviously you have Richards and Yabu. Would you have any interest in Chicago centers?
I don't believe so. Just too convoluted of a situation. I assume that Smith is probably limited, not going to play more than 25 minutes in this spot. Mm-hmm. And that just doesn't leave enough for Yabu or Richards. Sure. So probably just to stay away from me.
Coach Chris wants to know if you'd play McCollum or Jabari if they're the same price. I don't really care for McCollum when Atlanta's fully healthy, but what are your thoughts there?
Yeah. Let me see here. Was Daniels out? Why McCollum has seen 30
Daniels
minutes.
Missed some time. He did the last couple of weeks. And there was one game where everybody was out and CJ went for 40. So
yeah,
because that's what he does. But they got everybody back. So
yeah, last game Daniels was back. Only played 25 minutes though. CJ still played 31. Yeah, I don't love it honestly with Daniels back in there. It's tough to get there, but
yeah, he's seems like there's a variable of what he could be playing for minutes. I'd rather just find some money to play quickly if I could. Move the lineup around there. Any love for Cade? Ask Casey. Yeah, we talked about the start. We think Cade might have a lower physical scoring floor from a point perspective, but rebounds you think could be up tonight. The assist numbers are always really good, and I'm not going to say he can't score. He can score on anybody if he wants. He's a big guy that drives to the lane, and there's no real. I mean, Mitchell Robinson's there, I guess, for a little bit, so there is some rim protection. But Towns ain't blocking shots, so. I don't mind Cade if you want to spend up for Cade today. It's just other people are going the maxi route today at the point guard position. So
yeah, and then Johnson and Wemby are my two other pivots. So he's on my list for sure, but he is a little bit further down. I'd have him probably fourth amongst the stars today.
If we do Reed and start with that.
Luke. Yeah, that
All right, and
seems
then
like a
go
great start to me.
Jalen Johnson. All right, get your pivot off of Maxey there.
Yep, love
Your
that.
$5,900. Where do we go next?
Feel pretty good about Jerice Walker, chalk.
Yeah, Walker. That's a good point. Get
Let's
that at forward or small forward for Drees.
see here. If we're not playing Maxey, I think we want some Philly, whether that's Grimes or Oubre.
I said, do you want the value with Grimes, or do you want to go Edgecombe for the usage?
Yeah. Let's go VJ. I like that call.
All right. So we got Edgecombe, Walker, Johnson, Reed, and Vukcevic with point guard, and forward left. $5,700 remaining. Again, guys, we got 3 games locking at 7:00 that have some lineup impacts here. When it comes to the starting lineup, especially the Indiana-Washington game, so more value could be opening up. Like you said, if Potter starts or even Huff, I mean, you can throw them in at the forward spot. They can save you some salary there as well to get you guys some more money to play with. But this is just an example lineup for tonight. What do we think of Reed Shepherd? We'll get some last questions in here if you want to.
Very similar to Eason and Jabari Smith. The Rockets are healthy. It's hard to find who's going to have the spike game. He certainly could do it. He's fine.
Yep, agreed with you. And then we had another Cade. Cade's fine. Again, no Duran, no Stewart. The numbers are great. It's just it's a tough, slow matchup versus the Knicks. That's kind of all it is. Again, guys, one last time, Fantasy Salon won a couple of awards over the weekend: best written content site and best audio radio show. Celebrate there again. You can take advantage of our 50% off first month promo. FantasyAlarm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50. Our DFS playbook is included in that award. We write all the content here, Keith. So best written content for 2025 from the FSGA. So check it out. $20 for the first month. You can cancel it anytime. FantasyAlarm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50. You can scan the QR code right there. That's all of our all of our DFS, all of our seasonal, and all of our betting content for all sports. Our draft guides and cheat sheets are included. So if you're playing fantasy baseball, you want to check us out, you get access to the draft guide all right there for $20 for that first month. So make sure you take advantage of today's deal. Keith and I will be back tonight with the preview show. Everybody, good luck. We'll catch